Happy new comic book day, my friends, and Deeve Dewey Dewey Hoppus. Happy St. David's Day to my Welsh brothers and sisters out there. Not sure if any of them even know. I'm on YouTube, but my friend Vin is here. So Vin, thank you for joining. Sincerely appreciate it. Welcome to the news. Daily Chaos. I'm Phil, One True Nerd King. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. And you know, I think it's just time. Let's get into it. So Daily Chaos is where we take a little bit of time each day to recap some of the things that we're finding interesting in comic book news, nerd news in general. And honestly, today being the day that it is, being March 1st, we've got a lot of things coming, right? There's a lot of new movies coming. There's a lot of TV streaming shows. And honestly, the big TV streaming show has to be 100% The Mandalorian. Cole's Comics, good seeing you, brother. Vin, good vibes. Thank you, brother. Cole's, we might talk nuggets. I hear there's KFC news. As of an hour ago, KFC is bringing back the Double Down. I saw it on Twitter, bro. I can't believe it. I'm still trying to get over the one I had about a decade ago. Was it a decade ago? Was it that long ago, man? But that one that I had, I think is still festooned around me right now. So yeah, it's coming back. They got rid of popcorn chicken and they're bringing back the Double Down. I don't understand it, KFC. But what I still don't understand is, where I'm finding all this information, which is still on comicbook.com, which is very, 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 very concerning, considering that's a piece of news that they know we would all care about. I do care, but I'm more still concerned and upset about the loss of our popcorn chicken. But today's big news is obviously every Wednesday is amazing because it's new comic book day, but we finally have The Mandalorian season 3 is back. And guys, honestly, what I loved about The Mandalorian, I liked Andor a lot. I loved Andor, but man, Mandalorian just feels like Star Wars. It feels like Star Wars is back. I don't know if you've seen this first episode back, episode 17, The Apostate. It was great. I'm going to recap a little bit about what happened in the past, but if you've seen the first 2 seasons, if you've seen the Book of Boba, you know everything you need to know. Really, the Book of Boba is just about Grogu kind of coming back to things, in my opinion. But, Grogu's advanced a little bit. Granted, he still looks like the adorable little baby Yoda, the child that I still prefer to call him as. Grogu just kind of drives me nuts. But whatever. I got used to Yoda apparently as a child. I can grow into Grogu. But what's cool is I guess I was reading an interview with Favreau that during the time in the Star Wars universe, Grogu had 2 years with Luke Skywalker. So I feel like we're going to be getting a lot more information, a lot more Force use from Grogu going forward. And, here we are. And we're bringing back an amazing character from the first season that I really enjoyed, that I didn't think I would. We're bringing back IG-11, folks. He walked through the lava. He self-destructed himself to save everyone, and he is the one droid that Jin actually trusts. So Din Djarin was a product of the Clone Wars, right, where the droids were just laying waste to every humanoid on the planets that they took over and inhabited. And he grew up with PTSD of seeing droids killing his family. And that leads to his what's the word I want to use? But basically his predisposition to hating all droids, right? Never trusting any of them until IG-11 comes around. he trusts IG-11. So Jin needs to go bathe in the minds of Mandalore to be forgiven for taking off his helmet, because he's a part of a fraction of the Mandalorians that are super strict, super hardcore. And if you take off your helmet in front of any other sentient being, you essentially are unforgiven. You are Mandalorian no more. Meanwhile, we've got all the more newer versions, of Mandalorians like Bo-Katan, like Sabine Wren, like Boba Fett, that are able to take off their helmets because they're a part of that newer school, less archaic, less in the past Luddite version of the Mandalorians. So if this is the only way to get forgiven, he has to go back to Mandalore. And Mandalore has been long told to be, Mikey, good seeing you, brother. The episode was super short. I feel like every single episode of The Mandalorian is short because they're all freaking amazing. And Fraction, you mean to say cult. I should have said cult. It is 100% a cult. And I think it's even described that way. But, getting into that episode, one of the coolest things, though, I did see was right at the beginning when they jump into hyperspace and we see those, I don't remember what they're called, and I apologize, but basically they're those space whales, like the Renji or the Renja, or I can't remember what they're called. Somebody can hopefully correct me and get it right, but I can't remember the title of their species. However, they're floating along in hyperspace alongside Mandalorian and Grogu sees them and kind of reaches to them in the Force. You can feel that. And these are the creatures that came to the aid of Ezra when he was taking out Grand Admiral Thrawn. And when that occurred, they took Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn somewhere. And the mission of Sabine and Ahsoka was to find Ezra. So I don't know if that was maybe a precursor to say, maybe we're going to see Sabine finally. Maybe we're going to see Ahsoka show up in this series this year. I don't know about The Mandalorian, but seeing that little preview, that to me is a hint of what's to come. And that is going to be finding these creatures to help get them in Ahsoka to Ezra. At any rate, we see lots of other characters showing up. It was a great episode. Star Wars is back. I loved the Western feel of the shootout, that old spaghetti Western vibe that you did get, that Favreau's been so great to bring into the Star Wars world and bring to us as far as fans go. It was a really good episode. We know what's going on with Moff Gideon. We know what's going on with Cara Dune. I'm okay that she's not there. I was never a big fan of her character anyways. I think what happened sucked, but I really, honestly, I just don't give a crap. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But Mandalorian Season 3, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to get into too many more details of spoilers and whatnot because 100% I just gave out quite a few. But I really feel like this first episode came on strong, was enjoyable, very well paced, and I'm pumped for the next 7 episodes. Favreau's amazing. So that being said, let's get into some actual news. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up my screen here real quick. I'm going to share my entire screen. And let's check out and see what's going on. Let's go check out and see what's going on comicbook.com. So when we go to comicbook.com, some of the first things we begin to kind of see, we see, Taron Egerton's addressing James Bond casting rumors. This to me, all right, this to me kind of sucks. And I only say that because I like Taron Egerton. I think he was a great actor. I think he's pulled off lots of different roles. And I think he would have been a boss-ass Wolverine. Now getting Hugh back for a rental, I'm not sure we're going to be able to reboot in time to have something like that. So I'm I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned. What's that spicy link you got there? I wish. I wish I had these all pre-programmed into my Stream Deck, so all I have to do is hit a nice little fancy button, and it takes me right there. Um, but when I take a look around here, there's going to be obviously lots of other pieces of information. We see ending theory: Scott Lang returned in an alternate MCU timeline. Huh. That's an interesting theory. I want to read more about this. Let's see what this is. This is all live reaction, guys. We don't actually try and read all these pieces of news. If we did hear something that we want to talk about, we will throw that in there at the very top. But a lot of this is live reaction. It looks like maybe the Quantumania ending was a new timeline. Honestly, I just feel like we're trying to rescue the movie. I feel like the theories can be anything at this point. The movie was enjoyable. I enjoyed it for what it was. It didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. It felt like a tee up to something else. But regardless, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that everything was slightly different when he went back. Well, good, Mikey. Maybe this is something valid. Maybe it's something valid. Maybe it was just a little too perfect of a universe that he flowed back into. But looking at it right now, this is interesting. This is interesting. Theorize the example of the true power of the Council of Kings, ability to reshape, eliminate, and create new timelines at a whim. And one theory is that the world Scott Lang returns to is not the reality he left behind. Instead, it's been shaped by the Council of the Kangs to keep him complacent and not digging deeper into questions about Kang and the reasons for his genocidal mission and the multiverse itself. So, did we essentially Matrix Scott Lang into a nerfed version of his universe where they'll just keep him happy in this perfect place with his perfect family, doing all the things that he wished he had had time to do and have, but it's it's basically a microcapsule of what's going on in the multiverse. Perhaps maybe that's what's going on. I'm not too sure about it, but the faux reality is supposedly exposed by the fact that everyone Scott passes on the street at the end of the film takes creepy notice of him. Many wearing Kang-themed colors. Huh. While the world recognizes and acknowledges Scott/Ant-Man's greatness more than ever, despite his heroics inside the quantum realm being totally unknown to the larger world. Fans think Scott's deep moments of anxiety in the ending are actually his mind screaming at the world now being so wrong and the unseen hand of Kang on his shoulder. All right. Well, that's a kind of cool. Actually, you know what? I'll take that. That's pretty freaking cool. How do you feel about the fact Cocaine Bear almost beat Ant-Man this weekend? I'm not surprised. Reviews really sucked for Ant-Man. It was an awful day at the races, and it was a huge plummet. I think honestly, Theo and I had a big debate about this. People didn't care. The movie just was bad, whatever it was. I know Theo's a lot more angry about it than I am per se. My theory is that the reviews came in, and the regular average Joe that enjoyed Ant-Man in the MCU movies, because you could see Ant-Man and you didn't have to see every single other damn thing that went on. I feel like at the end of the day, they just saw the numbers, they heard the reviews, that it wasn't like a regular Ant-Man movie, and they just said, we're going to stay at home. And I say that because I feel like all the hardcore fans went that first weekend, and a few of those other average Joes. And I feel like movies like this are what's sustained by the average Joes, the average Marvel fans that just felt like, you know what, I can wait for something else with this. Because the numbers for Cocaine Bear and the numbers for Ant-Man Quantumania still don't average up to the same amount of money that it made the first weekend, Ant-Man alone. And that goes to tell me that the audience in general just didn't decide to go to a movie, right? That was the difference to me. It wasn't an agenda. It wasn't any of those different things. It was just all of a sudden like, they didn't choose something else over Ant-Man. They just chose not to go to the movies in general. Like the whole box office in general just went. So in my mind, I think it's indicative of the lack of desire to go to the movies and spend that much money for something that you're pretty sure you're not gonna be able to keep up with. So that's Marvel's failure for getting so big, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, kudos to Cocaine Bear. I still need to see that movie. Mikey, I know you've been telling me to see that movie. I haven't had the chance yet, but I did pick up a few books today. I did. Everybody had been telling me for ages to pick up Do a Power Bomb. So I picked up the trade paperback. I had not read this yet. I am an indie fan. I do love my indie books, and I had not gotten the chance to read Do a Powerbomb, but I have heard from multiple people, multiple outlets to check this out. I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but from what I've heard, you don't need to be to enjoy this story. So I'm looking forward to reading this weekend. This just came out. Black Tape from AWA. Again, an indie fan. I'm like AWA, do or die. I'm always going to be an AWA guy. Phantom Road from Image by Jeff Lemire here. I love Jeff Lemire. This is it's kind of a supernatural tale. It involves a truck driver. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I've always enjoyed Jeff Lemire. He's one of the few guys that can usually make me cry when I read comics outside of Bolero. But at any rate, great read. Well, great writer. I'm hoping it's a great read. We'll find out. Skull and Bones, Savage Storm. This is a tie-in to a new Ubisoft pirate game coming out. I'm interested in that. I've been enjoying these tie-ins between comics and video games more recently, so I've got high hopes for that. My last two are probably going to be a bit of a surprise. Marvel, Hallows Eve. I enjoyed her first appearance. I think she's a pretty cool character as far as things go, and I've been hearing decent things about Marvel Comics stepping it up in their writing and getting more interesting. So I am very interested to see where Hallows Eve is going to go. And Cosmic Ghost Rider, you had to. Frank Castle's back as Vengeance. I always thought it was one of the most ridiculous things in comics to see him to see him as Ghost Rider, but this Cosmic Ghost Rider thing has been hilarious. I've enjoyed the stories that we've gotten in the past over it, so I had to pick up the new one. I didn't grab any DC. I'm not a huge DC guy, but I those are the books I picked up today. So Breath of Shadows is a wild trip. Issue 2 came out today. Who's that? Who's the publisher on that one, Mikey? I've not heard of that one, so I'll have to check that out. Like I said, I love my indies, so this would be a big thing for me. La Crusades 1971, every single time makes it in for the news. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for making it out. What a day! New comic book day. Those are my books I'm going to be reading this week. That's what I'm getting into. We've talked about The Mandalorian. We've taken a little bit of a look at comicbook.com. Let's kind of get back to the top of things there real fast. When I look at more news here on the page, I can see, obviously we talked about Kingsman rumors, which I find disappointing because I really wanted him for, I actually really wanted him. I really wanted him for Wolverine. We saw the Double Down is back. That's still a little crazy for all the KFC people out there. You guys know last time I was pretty upset about this. Yes, KFC confirms the return of the mega viral sandwich, the Double Down. I am man, I don't know if I can take it. I don't know if I can take it. So we'll see. Shazam Fury of the Gods. I'm hoping that's going to be a good movie, but honestly, March is pretty stacked with movies. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but I mean, we've got like John Wick 4 coming. We've got Shazam coming. We've got a lot of good movies coming in March, possibly good movies. IDW. There we go. IDW. Yes, the sandwich that you burn Yeah, that you have to burn yourself to eat. That's actually very true. I do remember that. It's a brutal sandwich. I don't know if I could ever do it again. I used a fork and knife, dude. It was just ridiculous. I didn't even try and treat it like a sandwich. Those are two chicken breasts, deep fried, as the bun. Gah. Yeah, couldn't handle it. Not gonna lie. But here it is. It's coming back. It's going to begin March 6th, guys. So for those missing it, you can go get it. Let's take a look and see what else we've got here. Let's check out and take a look at the Direct. What's happening on the Direct? Avengers 5 gets a surprising Fantastic Four update from the MCU. I heard about this. Today. So we got from Feige that the Fantastic Four is going to be a major pillar of the MCU going forward once they debut. But according to the screenwriter of Avengers Kang Dynasty, they're not going to be in Kang Dynasty. They're not going to be in Avengers Kang Dynasty. There is no inclusion of them. And to be honest, I feel like this is and isn't a story, right? Because we don't even have them cast yet. And I think if we included them right now, it would be bad. I say that because if we included them at this very moment right now, anyways, in Avengers Kang Dynasty, that means we haven't finished writing and we don't know where this movie's going, right? So I have concerns. Mikey, good seeing you. Thanks for making it out. Sincerely appreciated, brother. I have concerns if they said Fantastic Four was a part of Avengers 5 just because of the fact we don't even have the cast yet. And supposedly this is going to involve their kids. I'm fine. I'm fine with this. Anybody else got an opinion on it? I'm personally going to be okay with the Fantastic Four not being a part of Avengers 5. Hopefully they will be in Secret Wars, but the Kang Dynasty, this is okay. Let it begin, let it end, and hopefully whatever happens after that is some dust settling because we need to get better, Marvel. We need to do better. And, bringing in the first family maybe should be something that we don't taint them with the whatever this last phase and this current one we're getting ourselves into maybe. So I am, for one, okay with the Fantastic Four being out of that. I know my counterpart may not be, but I'm all right with it. CW just spoiled Batwoman's Arrowverse return. Yeah, she comes back as Red Death, which was a terrible intro from what I have seen. Vin, yes, we definitely just need a decent Fantastic Four movie. Please, sweet baby Jesus, give us a decent Fantastic Four movie. It needs some actual representation. Let's see. Star Wars Jedi Survivor finally confirms Clone Wars theory. What's this? I enjoyed this game. Okay, so I'm the Star Wars guy, right? I'm a Star Wars guy. I enjoy Star Wars. I've enjoyed Star Wars all the time in between when I got away from comics, things of that nature. So Star Wars for me has always been a staple in my nerddom of digestion, right? And I'm wondering what this major thing is. Features, marketing picked up, plenty of time for the game's release following the delay. It looks like some fans will be familiar with one of the members of the Gundai race, Dirge, the most indestructible character that Obi-Wan Kenobi couldn't seem to kill from Clone Wars. Oh, no crap. Wow. Now that's crazy. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd be okay with that. I would like to see that. I'd be okay to get this guy from the Clone Wars cartoon. And this was the original Clone Wars cartoon. I'm not talking about the one that we had. I'm not talking about the one that we had after that, which was still great, where we got Ahsoka Tano, things of that nature. But this is Star Wars Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars. This is Clone Wars, the animated show. And this was like where Grievous was beyond badass, right? This is where Grievous was just going around laying waste to Jedi in every scene, crawling over ceilings, all the stuff. It was whack. It was absolutely whack. Into the West, welcome. How's it going, guys? I really enjoyed the first Mando episode. I'm hoping the something was good. I enjoyed it. I felt like Star Wars was finally kind of back. I loved seeing the Naboo starfighter getting back out there. I loved seeing what it could really do, because I mean, in Star Wars, that ship is like a Ferrari, right? It is a sports car. It is fast. It is deadly, but is hard to maneuver. And it looks like Jin's been doing a good job at it, because I mean, he was just smoking these dudes, absolutely smoking them. The main pirate at the end had way too many Pirates of the Caribbean vibes. That Dead Man's Chest, I can't remember which one he was. Was it Blackbeard or something like that? Ghost kind of thing, like the seaweed hanging from his face. That was a little hokey to me, but the rest of it I really enjoyed. Um, was that the thing Jack Black released this morning, that he's going to be Superman? Yeah, yeah, that could have. This does kind of look like that in that regard. I could see that. But no, yeah. Supposedly Black wants to have a shot at Superman. I think it's all tongue in cheek, but we'll see. Gotham Knights reviews, critics slam messy Batman show. I don't know if you guys even know the premise of this show. I don't even know if I want to get into it. It's a CW thing. I loved the first season or two of the Arrow, and I really loved the Flash, but everything else I was just kind of meh on. And seeing this, I mean, it's a bunch of misfits. Bruce Wayne's adopted son, the Joker's daughter. I mean, just no. Anybody that thought this was going to go somewhere, I'd be shocked. But I can't. Yeah. Apparently, they dive into the mystery of Batman's death. These people come together. But like I said, Joker's daughter. I mean, I don't care if she hates her dad or not. But I mean, the whole thing. Point out the first 6 episodes were a drag due to the uninteresting and bad characters and many issues. I've seen the first 6 episodes of Gotham Knights, and man, was that a drag. Uninteresting, bad characters, unthreatening court of owls, and just a run-of-the-mill, paint-by-numbers storyline that you've seen before. It feels like the second season of Riverdale. Well, that's enough to keep me away. I'm out. It's been a rough go so far. Yep. I wasn't there to begin with. So if anything, I just feel my point is confirmed. I don't need to worry about seeing this show. It was 100% not for me. So yeah. Peace out when it comes to looking any further at that show. Gotham Knights. I hope you, I don't understand how they could cancel something like Swamp Thing even before it airs, but they then bring us something like this. It just kind of goes to show you that I'm still positive that DC, even under Gunn's leadership, doesn't have an idea of what it's doing. I mean, because James Gunn, like I said, famous for Scooby-Doo and Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't even think Suicide Squad 2 was that great. I know a lot of people disagree. A lot of people loved it. But, man, it was a movie I could see once, never have to see again, and really be totally fine with that. And yet, the man's given the keys to the kingdom. I'm not sure. So we shall see. Marvel's newest superhero accidentally got unveiled early. What's this? Let's see here. Darcy Lewis, Amos Luis, Agent Coulson. Season 2. Wackier. Oh, God. The second season proves to be wackier than with What If. I don't need more wacky. I could use a little bit more something cool. But it looks like Kahori is a part of Funko's collectible soda line, who has no origins in Marvel Comics. She looks to be Native American, sporting a traditional face paint, woven clothing, and feathers in her hair. The logo on the side of what we can seemingly introduce the upcoming installment of What If, currently set to premiere. I don't see a picture of it, so I can't really say, but it looks like we've got a new MCU hero coming. I guess we'll see what it is, but yeah, I'm okay. Congratulations, Marvel, another new hero, because we didn't have enough to have no character development and have no concern about the people that we're trying to introduce into the MCU. Let's just keep on shoehorning them in via What If. I don't think it's going to work. I'm not excited for it. No. Boy. So far, not so good today in the news, folks. I'm not seeing a lot of things that I really am pumped about. Oh, okay. All right. The Mandalorian, Grogu's hyperspace. What were these stupid things called again? Rebels, however, season 3 shows us. I can't remember what those stupid aliens are called. There we go. Massive silhouette. Seconds later, the Purgle. That's cool. These are the things I was talking about a few minutes ago, guys. So the Purgle are the things that helped Ezra, the force-sensitive hyperspace space whales that stopped Grand Admiral Thrawn, who we're going to see in Ahsoka. She's hunting him because he knows where Ezra is. But these guys are going to have a lot to do with at least Ahsoka coming up, and that was a nice nod. That was a nice nod, a little foreshadowing. So I'm thankful for this. Scene. I remember as soon as I saw it, I'm like, are we finally going to see it? And then all of a sudden I thought to myself, have these guys been introduced already? Maybe I missed them at some point, but no, just in Rebels. So it's good. I'm happy with their arrival. As we said earlier, Mandalorian's going to be a big part of these shows for the next 2 months. So be prepared for a little Mando news. But I'm also going to get a little bit back to the Mandalorian here at the end with some theories. But in the meantime, let's check on a few other pieces of news. There's nothing really concerning about the casting of Chris Pratt being some backlash when it comes to Mario. I mean, this is voice acting, in my opinion. We could have brought back the actual voices. The producer clears up the confusion about Grogu's Luke Skywalker timeline is 2 years. Heard about this earlier. Let's see what the first reactions are right now. Let's see here. Stellar cast of characters. The critics' reactions are... Let's see. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm loving it so far. Both episodes are stuffed with all things I love about Star Wars. Weird, crazy creatures, cool missions, great fights, lots of lore, fun Grogu moments, definite classic Star Wars vibes all the way. I agree with this. Eric Davis, Fandango, I agree with you so far. The Mandalorian kicks off with a bang, action-packed right off the start. Pacing in the story is excellent. Cool, said similar. I look forward to seeing Jin's journey, and I've missed that duo of Mando and Grogu. My heart is so full. Yes, there is the little snuggle scene, and it is 100% life. I am there with it. It looks like we're putting your favorite sweater back on after returning home from a long vacation. It's warm, comfortable, probably a little safe, but literally everything you need and wanted. I'm not taking any big swings, but did we really need it to? No, I mean, honestly, it really gets right back into the action, and it started off like in the first few seconds, man. It was great. Like I said, well paced from beginning to end. So I am pumped. So far, everything really looks positive. Let's see here, some table settings and reintroductions. I'm not seeing anything negative in here. It really looks good. Some people said it was a little sluggish at the start of episode 1. Episode 2 is incredible in every sense of the word. Holy crap. I liked episode 1. If episode 2 is going to be that much more high octane, shoot. I'm trying to clean up my language, guys. I was very afoul with my F-bombs the other day, so I'm trying to do a little bit better. But yeah, I'm here with the critics so far. Overall, I had nothing to complain about. Felt like Star Wars. Felt good. I'm pumped to be back. Let's get a little bit more comic book news in here, and then I'm going to get to some of my theories. Stephen Ewan's big superhero revealed by new rumor. So he's coming in with a star-studded cast on the Thunderbolts. The actor has obviously been in a lot of movies, but he's also been, I can't remember the character's name, but the main character in Invincible. As far as a voice goes, even though there's been no official word, those rumors are coming closer to coming true. Stephen Ewan's rumored Century casting. Circulated the role of Sentry, that it was no longer in If. So it looks like it's not in If. This was response to the original tweet about hoping Win's hair would change color when Sentry powers up. The original tweet put big emphasis on if Stephen Ewan be playing Sentry. I hope his hair turns blonde when he powers up. The ultra-powerful Sentry has an alter ego called the Void. So Wen would be forced to basically take on two characters rather than just one. Oh. So now that I've got a potential scoop here from someone who's been fairly reliable in the past, I spoke to somebody at Marvel, not a higher up necessarily, and this is the quote that they sent to me. We don't even know who he's playing, but my guess is Sentry, since there's been whispers of that casting circulating a bit. So he's going to be in the Thunderbolts as Sentry, potentially. That's what somebody's telling me, who we heard from somebody else. Okay. I don't like this. I don't like him as Sentry. I don't like him as Sentry. And I say that because we know that there has been huge search for Hulk blood. We saw a lot of it in She-Hulk. We know that the leader is a major character in Thunderbolts. We know that Ross is president in Thunderbolts. These are all a lot of Hulk theories. I still think Steven is going to play Cho. And I say that because maybe if we can't get a kick-ass Banner in there busting some things up, going whack, maybe a totally awesome Hulk, maybe we could take something from that. I think it could be Cho. I still think it could be Cho. And I say that because the leaders here, obviously they've been after Hulk blood like a vengeance. We know Ross is going to play also Red Hulk. You don't bring in Harrison Ford just to play the president for a cameo scene and just to continue to be the old guy that just like barks at people whenever S.H.I.E.L.D's up, right? That's not what Harrison Ford got brought in for. Harrison Ford's also going to be a Red Hulk. I feel it in my bones. And if the leader is still existing after he got locked up, that means he's been under some kind of thumb of politicians in leadership and mostly the military, which is 100% Ross's realm. I bet he's had the leader working on some of this stuff to basically make another Hulk serum. And I don't know how Harrison Ford's character is going to decide to up it upon himself, but I do feel like that's going to be one of the major things going on in this story. And if there is Sentry, cool, but I really hope it's not Steven. And that's just because I don't feel like he fits the bill whatsoever. I mean, this is the guy who got baseball batted his brains out all over from our days on Walking Dead. I would be totally okay with him definitely not being Sentry. I mean, if he is, yes, could the hair change color? Cool. I hope so, because he's just this. I don't see him as a. I don't want to see another Zachary Levi in a muscle suit, guys. I don't want to see some hokey foam muscle suit or a CGI head being put on somebody else that can actually pull off this form. If Sentry's going to be here, make Sentry Sentry. Sentry's psychotic, Sentry's nuts, but Sentry is basically a Marvel version, Hyperion as well, but Superman, right? He is a big, strong, freaking dude. And I don't see Steven pulling that off remotely. This if this is true, man, I hope Marvel's proving me wrong, because recently they've only been proving me wrong by hoping that their casting and their things were right. They're still good at casting, I feel like, but they've not been great at storytelling. But this, I just don't feel this. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. If he's Sentry, I'm not feeling this. Anybody in here with me on that? I'm not catching it. So I would much rather him be 100% our totally awesome Hulk. I'd rather him be Cho. I'm not feeling this. I don't feel like this little dude is going to be morphing into Sentry. I feel like this little dude should morph into a Hulk. That's what I see. All right. If we're going to CGI it up, CGI him into a Hulk. Don't CGI him into Sentry. I can't take this dude to Sentry. I can't. He's a great actor. 100% fantastic actor. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. In the words of Theo, not my Sentry, not my Sentry. So I'm gonna take that along here with that grain of salt. I'm hoping we are wrong, because I do not necessarily want this at all. Before we get a little bit into that, let's check out Cover Price. For those that do and don't know, Cover Price has been making some updates recently. And one of the updates that they made is their new comic book day page. So let's log on in here and take a look at that. I had to log in first, so I thought I would save you guys from having to stare at me while I do that. But as we pull up the screen here, let's go ahead and take a look at scrolling down. You can see the new releases today. And what I really like about the new release schedule that you can find here is that you have the ability to, number one, choose by your filters. It's going to be alphabetical according to the titles. You can look here at value, like what's selling, what's not. But if I want to take a look at all of the actual variants, if I don't want to see variants and I just want to see the A's, I have the opportunity to change that here. I have the ability to look at each of the different publications and what came out. I mean, it was a big week with DC. It looks like we got like 64 different variant covers, everything else going on. But let's, or you can filter by number ones. You just want to find a new series. If you're looking for something, this is a fantastic tool. So when you come to Cover Price, you can get yourself, free membership, things of that nature, have access to these things. But you can take a look here at all the different books that are coming out. But let's go ahead and take a look and see if anything is actually trending right now as far as prices go. Let's see if anything's actually hitting any kind of interesting numbers. Let's move that. So it looks like Hallows' Eve is off to a rip-roaring start when it comes to the values coming out right now. So let's go ahead and show maybe a little bit of a better version of that. I'm going to get down and out of the way here. So we can see Hallows' Eve is coming in. It looks like the raw virgin 1 in 300 is at $226.86. Now, obviously, this is for a high ratio variant. This is kind of normal. I'm not seeing anything totally out of the normal here for what I would see them try and sell these things to. The Comic Mint, I know KRS also had this cover as well. Hallows' Eve here selling for $100 in the raw right now. This Stegman Cosmic Ghost Rider, I talked about this a little bit yesterday, is dope. That is a dope cover. I love that. I love that. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones. Here we've got Ross's Timeless Green Goblin sketch, 1 in 100. Man, there is some serious Marvel movement on the top here as far as what's coming in. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones, the Greg Land Virgin 1 in 100, the reprint of his version of Spider-Gwen with the Doc Ock version. Man, Inhyuk Lee's Comic Mint limited to 800. This is also available with KRS. I believe this one's sold out as well, but we see more copies of these ones moving out and about right now. Then when it kind of gets into not just, we've got the Spectral Comics version here by Ivan Tao. A lot of these are just limited variants. let's kind of get into a little bit more of what actually just seems to be moving. Gambit and Rogue. I'm not seeing anything in here that's not just screaming variant to jack up the prices with their ratios. A lot of these, a lot of these just seem to be moving from that. I'm not seeing anything that I would consider to be from a spec side, because every single one of these things I'm looking at, 1 in 25, limited to 3,000, things of that nature. Action Comics, the Lee Weeks version, 10.99. The RWBY DC, I don't know. Shazam special. A lot of these were $10 to begin with. I'm not seeing Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer Virgin, one per store, only $9.99. Obviously, not a whole heck of a lot happening there. Batman Superman World's Finest reprint, second print came out here. This was the Jack Black, I believe. Looks like that's coming back a little bit more. But yeah, if you're wondering what books are moving and what's been happening already on New Comic Book Day with prices that are going on and out there, you can check out coverprice.com, and they will have all of that information right there in their New Comic Book Day section. So highly recommend checking that out. While we're here on the page, also another thing that I really like to take a look at each and every single time is the top 10. I'm not a huge top 10 guy, but the weekly market report. For those that don't know, lots of great stories in here that you can find about different books. And these are some of the shakers from the week before. Some things that have set a lot of different high dollar amounts in sales, things of that nature. But it gives you background stories like why? Why is this going on? You know, Amazing Spider-Man 601. So we've got here controversy on the Swaggle scale. Controversy always makes a happy book. And a lot of young artists were taking apart J. Scott Campbell's covers, and of course, probably didn't realize the cult-like following that some of us give him, and immediately came to his defense. But he also took them to task too, like getting into the anatomy, you know, showing the muscles, showing where everything's at, why he created the character, how they would be sitting, how they would be posed, how this would actually occur. And then he donated that drawing to the Fresh Artist Charity, which made over $14,700, guys. J. Scott Campbell's awesome dude, awesome artist. And if you learn anything from this, don't mess with fans with a big bass. And Campbell's one of those guys. But yeah, there's lots of cool, different covers, concepts, different stories you can read about. I really liked this one. I didn't even know this existed. Anybody pay attention to iZombie? It's definitely something that I came to enjoy because of the TV show on the CW. I enjoyed that show. Maybe I'm the only one, but if anybody else enjoyed iZombie on the CW, let me know. But this is a gorgeous cover. I really think this is a super cool cover. I mean, is it breaking banks around the world? No, but I mean, $250 for a CGC 9.8. I think this was like a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 15 cover maybe, but I mean, you can get it in a raw for like $24. Yeah, see, I own one. Not this one, but I own, you know, the original iZombie. I started collecting the series after I was introduced to the television show. And I was very impressed with it. So if anybody else is too, this is the kind of stuff you can find on the Week in Review. It's not a top 10. It's not a, it's not a, you know, go out and find this and buy this and do that. It's not meant to be some kind of FOMO inducer. This is meant 100% to just tell the story of different comics that are just, you know, out there in the ether, that some people like, some people have seen, and the writers, you know, get the opportunity to see some movement in the market, and they say, boy, that's a really cool book. I wonder why that's moving. And they look into it and they break it down, and cool information for you. So a lot of people just go and they just kind of track their books there with CLZ and with Cover Price, things of that nature. But you can find a lot of great articles there too. So highly recommend it. With all that being said, I'm going to break into the final bit, which is my theory for Mandalorian going forward. when the very end of the episode comes about, John's Comics with Kids. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. I appreciate you popping in and saying hello, man. One of the finest gentlemen that I've ever met, and probably one of the only ones I've met that's as tall as me at a convention. I hung out specifically, almost missed my flight on Sunday just to see John at San Diego Comic-Con. That's how special of a dude this man is. So anybody that has never experienced John's, especially X-Men storytelling, or any of his shows here on YouTube, or the things he does on Instagram or TikTok or any of the other places, do check him out. Great individual, and a person I would consider to be a friend. Miss him dearly. Need to do a live get together again soon, brother. So at any rate, yeah, I'm going to get back to it. But Mandalorian, where I see this season going, we know Jin has to go back to Mandalore to bathe in the water of the living water of the mines. And we know that not only did the Mandalorians always war with each other to the point of destroying the planet, that they had to live in these protective domes, right? The Mandalorians lived in these domes on the planet because they basically bombed it back to nothing. And then when the Empire was done with Mandalore, because they were always such just a rebellious culture and series of people, they didn't pick a side during the Clone Wars, all these things, bombed it out of existence. And supposedly it's been radiation filled and poisoned, and it's been blasted to crystal. It's like kryptonite. It's like Krypton meets a giant kyber crystal. That's all that's supposedly left of this planet. And for anybody else that's been following Star Wars lately, we do know, from the most recent movies that a lot of us didn't like, but there was always cloning going on. And we saw that with Grogu, with them trying to create more Force sensitives in some of the last seasons of The Mandalorian. And we also saw that too, especially in The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch just recently, in this most recent episode, talks about the fact of these other worlds with other cloning facilities on them. And the questions are coming up right now about why, what we're going to find on Mandalore. Now, I feel like Jin's need to bring IG-11 back to life. He's not needed him until now. He needs a droid. He knows in case anything is messed up down there, he's got to get somebody down there to help get him in there. And he needs a droid because no other physical person may be either A, trustworthy, or B, able to survive. So at least he can send down IG-11 first to give him hopefully some good data back, because this is the only droid he trusts. So for me, I see IG-11 as his eyes and ears of, kind of like sending down a probe, having a friend, somebody else who can move big, heavy things and work on stuff constantly that he's going to need to be able to get down into those mines. But I also think too that all of this just seems like a ruse. Nobody has been able to say that they were on the planet, that they know it was poisonous, that they know it's irradiated. It's all been propaganda since the Empire, when everybody was just basically, blown away from it. Nobody's been allowed to go back. We see evidence now that supposedly some traveler traded with a Jawa and gave a part and piece of what looks like a relic from Mandalore on a large piece of crystal, which maybe to Bo-Katan to the Armorer, all but confirmed that Mandalore has been blasted back to crystal. Nothing is coming back from it. But when we see Bo-Katan, we're reminded of a line from one of the last seasons when she enlisted the help of the Mandalorian to help her bring these fractions together, to bring everybody back in line. His fraction, his cult, is the most out there. Everybody else is a little bit more progressive. They can take off their helmets. They can have lives. They can do things besides be, these soldiers constantly. In my mind, I feel like all of this was Empire propaganda. And I feel like when they get down into the mines, we're going to find something along the lines of either another cloning facility. I feel like that is 100% on the books as possibility, considering what we're finding in the Bad Batch right now. And at the same time, too, this might be a precursor of trying to create some other force sensitive, force sensitive like clones. I mean, we know this was a Palpatine thing. Where were those clones coming from? I'm feeling like the propaganda around Mandalore that nobody should ever go back there because everybody's going to die because it's irradiated and it's poisoned and it's useless. Nobody can ever be there. Either A, we're going to find some kind of crazy underground civilization, or B, we're going to find a huge empire conspiracy theory to keep everyone out. That's my bold prediction for where this season's going. Bo-Katan looks broken and pissed. Katie Sackhoff is amazing. She looks way more like she did in the Clone Wars, the animated Clone Wars, computer animated, CGI animated. I'm still in love with her. I think she's going to be a bad guy. I know she's going to be a bad guy because she's always a bad guy. She's like one of the most selfish characters in Star Wars, in my opinion. But maybe she's sending Jin there to hopefully let him die so she can get the Darksaber and she can go back to leading her people, because it sounds like they all left her when she did not come back with the Darksaber and it went to this other guy. We'll see. But for everybody who made it out tonight, I sincerely appreciate it. This is something we're going to be doing every single Monday through Thursday, at least. This week on Friday, my daughter has a play. They're doing Matilda. I promised I would be there for it, so I unfortunately cannot do the show on Friday. But Theo and I will be back on Sunday with a different panel, a group of friends, and hopefully everybody will have an enjoyable time. But I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. So for all of those that want to have more conversation on these things and catch up a little bit more on some of the pieces and parts of the news that we find interesting and want to share some opinions, let us know. Let me know. And if you're interested in joining, let me know as well. I always love a conversation. I always love the opportunity to have more friends come in and join. And yes. Foot for foot, two of the best YouTubers, you and I. Yes, we are 100% too tall for our own britches in our shows. And Vin, yes, please like and subscribe. Click the bell notifications. It is sincerely helpful. But I hopefully will get to see you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, my friends, have a great day. Again, happy St. David's Day to my Welsh brothers and sisters and friends and family. And to everyone else, happy new comic book day. See you in the threads. Collect what you love. Take care, everybody.